Hi
Hi
everyone.
everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Can We Discuss with Yara and Petra.
In today's episode, I'm actually really excited about this one because I feel like we haven't had a one-on-one episode in a minute. Well, this entire season really, and as much as I love having our guests, obviously, and like offering that perspective to listeners, I also just love having these raw, unfiltered conversations with you, Yarush. And after a lot of convincing, we
Okay,
are
you make me sound so bad.
No. It's not. I mean, everyone's comfortable talking about their own things in different ways. But today's episode, we're going to be chit-chatting about pregnancy and specifically your journey, Arush. And we're going to be doing a little bit of like hey, can not شوي insights where I'm at, where you're at, how we
Insights.
feel about the differences and where we're both at. كمان هيك we'll touch upon a little bit about like raising kids in the Middle East versus in the US, for example. So I'm excited to kind of have this raw discussion with you. Um, okay, I'm gonna kick us off. So what when you first found out you were pregnant, what was like your first initial like gut feeling? You know what I mean? Like أول شي حسيتي.
Gut feeling ما كان عندي gut feeling يعني it was just very يعني أنا to me Elias was the one إنه يلا test يلا test يلا test إنه أنا خلص at the back of my mind I'm like no, clearly I'm pregnant. So when I tested, I laughed because it was just no, okay, no, okay, like thank God,
Confirmed.
blah blah blah. Obviously, all of these things, but I laughed. Okay, I wasn't the person that looked at the pregnancy tests and cried and felt all of these emotions and whatever. I just laughed. لأنه to me, I mean, something to expect. It's not a surprise,
I don't hate this word, but Jason hates this word whenever someone says it. No, you were trying, so it's not like it's gonna come as a surprise.
I mean, yeah, you shouldn't. It shouldn't be a surprise. If it's a
Hopefully.
surprise, that's amazing. It's great. It's whatever works, But no, it wasn't a surprise for us. يعني. Also, a lot of people still don't know I'm pregnant from my friends, so now they're gonna.
Now they're gonna know. This can be your unofficial pregnancy announcement.
But it's not a gut feeling. And Anna, to me, I was happy. Obviously, I'm like Alhamdulillah, and no, thank God, like it happened and everything, and hopefully everything goes smoothly. So no, Anna, for me, from the get go, I'm like مثل ما الله بيريد. From the get go, I'm like whatever God's will is, let it be, and then we just went with it. Me and Lias, both of us.
I think that's a really good, that's the way that, well, everything in life should be in terms of just, Jesus take the wheel. بس بحس
Yeah.
إنه كثير نحنا يعني it's so easy in today's world to fall into tripping out over the idea of like, am I gonna get pregnant quickly? Obviously, like, there's a lot of people as well. Like, this could be a sensitive topic for a lot of people, and we
Yeah.
recognize that it's not easy for everyone. And there's a lot of people out there who have been trying to get pregnant and not able to. So, akid, all of our thoughts go out to everyone who wants to become a mom and hopefully will become a mom in their own time.
Parents, because a
Parents,
lot of
even dads.
men
Yeah,
really want to be dads, right?
yeah,
So
yes, for sure. Um, but I think like it's so easy for you. يعني I'm not even trying to get pregnant, and then I still already like put pressure on myself thinking about when that time comes, like is it gonna happen? So I think it's really important to have that mentality of like Jesus take the wheel and just خلص إنه اللي بده يصير بيصير. لأنه otherwise like you put yourself almost, I don't know if this is like scientifically proven, but like I feel like if you put your body under stress, aslan like it doesn't function the way that it should function in most
of
cases.
course,
So yeah. So
of
it's
course.
better for you to just kind of have that attitude versus like try to put stress on yourself. But I also know that it's like easier said than done.
It is easier said than done. I mean, there are a lot of things that you need to think about. Stress obviously plays a factor in everything in life. بس I think لأنه هلأ في كتير there's a lot of information that comes our way. We're not kind of blindsided with a lot of the things that do take place or that do happen. So لأنه you come with the knowledge of everything that can happen, can go wrong or can go right, بصير عندك كتير هيك pre-assumptions
Yeah.
before you go into anything, right? So everyone just always keeps a buffer. And حتى if you go to a doctor, if you go to your gynecologist says, if you want to start trying, if you're below a specific age, we give you 12 months to try. And if it doesn't work, and then it means we have to look at other treatments.
Yeah.
If you're above a certain age, they give you 6 months. And then they go like, when you start trying, 6 months. But when you start trying, actually calculating and doing the work that you need to do to be able to get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that's just very هيك quick and easy, you know. They used to scare people when we were younger انه شو ما عملتوا انتبهوا فيكم تحبلوا. Yeah, it's not that easy.
It's crazy because like your whole life you spend trying, well, whenever you became sexually active, you tried to like not get pregnant, and then all of a sudden at one point in your life it becomes
You
almost
want
like
to.
counter, yeah, it becomes like counterintuitive. Like I'm going against everything that I learned my whole life, you know? So it's a little bit crazy. I don't think so much in the Middle East, but like here in the US, well, some of my friends in the Middle East too, but like here in the US, birth control is given at a very young age. And we definitely don't see it this in the Middle East, but like people are sexually active a little bit earlier. And so like min what like they plant the seed in them as to like how easy it is to get pregnant, and like how you have to, there's so many shows here about like teen moms and blah blah blah, like
Yeah.
they seriously, like the culture in the US seriously like instills like a fear of getting pregnant in you, and you stop letting your body function the way that it has to function as a woman, you know? So it's,
Yeah, that's a whole other topic as
well,
well,
yeah,
right? You know,
yeah,
this whole thing يعني. But
yeah.
you know, it's not about the يعني, yes, أكيد there are so many differences in the Middle East versus the US when it comes to this topic, or just in general. But medically speaking, people are on birth control for so
Oh
many
yeah,
different cases.
tough.
So it's not about whether you're sexually active or not to a certain degree.
True.
Sometimes it's just if you have medical conditions, and we're
Yeah.
not going to talk to that because obviously we're not qualified enough to
No.
be able to talk about it. We know a lot of things that we just know, but no,
Yeah.
we're not qualified to talk
Yeah.
about it
Yeah.
medically
We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole because that's a different
speaking.
episode with a special guest on another week. But so we started with what was your initial like gut reaction? What are some of your fears that come with being pregnant, or the changes in your life, for example, that are about to come?
I mean, listen, it's not about تكوني خايفة من الأشياء that are to come. لأنه this is a conscious decision you chose to make. You chose to do this, to bring it to your life, to bring a human into your life. And this is something that is obviously life changing. So بدك تكوني أنت محضرة حالك نفسيا. You need to prepare yourself mentally that this is something that's going to change your whole life. So if there's something that you were like, I really wanted to do it before I have kids, go ahead and do it before you have kids. But no, kids don't stop your life. And I've seen it from a lot of people around me. I don't think it's fears, but I think a lot of the things, and there are so many things you have to think about during pregnancy. When you first find out you're pregnant, okay, I'm not going to say anything because يمكن the test is positive بس ما يكون في شيء medically like a pregnancy sac. So خليني انطر. I'm going to wait for a while. Let me see. And then you have so many different milestones during your pregnancy that are just basically checkpoints
Yeah.
that are just, okay, tick, done. It's a checklist. We're done. We're good. We're comfortable. We understand that the baby is healthy. Now comes the mother's health. And for the mom, it's about, okay, I can't get sick. I really need to be careful. I can't get sick. I can't put my body through so much stress because it's carrying another human being, and the baby obviously feels everything.
Yeah.
And then it's just about, okay, so now I need to start prepping for so many different things. You prep in furniture, but you also need to start prepping for your birth plan. Do you have a birth plan? Is there something that you want to think about? In our case, obviously, it's also where do I want to give birth? That's a whole other thing. So it's a million things that come every step of the way. It's
Yeah,
not انه خلص كلهم بيجوا هيك فرد ضربة you start worrying. But there are things that happen along the way. The body changes themselves. First trimester, you're like, okay, ما بعرف شلون بصير. This is not my body. This is not my, I'm not comfortable in my own skin. I'm just uncomfortable is the word that I was using the entire first trimester. It was just, I'm uncomfortable. Alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful, but I'm uncomfortable, you know?
yeah,
For it's just every step of the way, there's just a thought. And it's
yeah,
even if it's like the first trimester was so uncomfortable to me, and me and my best friend are like, we're going to make it our mission to tell women that it's how uncomfortable it is. People don't tell you that you're not yourself in your own skin. You know about the morning sickness, you know about the nausea, you know about the sore boobs, you know about the weight gain. If you gain a lot of weight, I mean, some people gain a
yeah,
lot of weight first trimester and then they don't at all. Some people don't gain any and then gain a bunch later. um it's a million things that go through your mind that you think about. بس انه not one person is the same, not one body is the same, and apparently from what I've seen from my friends, not one pregnancy is the same. So
yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I think you touched on a lot of points. Like one thing that stuck out is the way that you describe the different milestones that you have to hit. And the fact that you said not everything comes at once. It's important to be able to kind of digest it one piece at a time. I can tell you from my perspective at least, what scares me is أنا بحس حالي I'm a person who overthinks a lot and has not anxiety. I don't feel like I have anxiety, but I feel like I just battle هم اشياء. Like I'm not diagnosed with anxiety, but I worry about things. I'm a
it's
freak. Like
because you overthink يمكن.
because I overthink. So like I
Yeah.
just start even with my friends' kids, I would be like, are they breathing? How do you know that they're okay? So هول الاشياء, they come as like the thought that now you have to take care of a whole other living human being. And I already بحس انه مع Jason انه I have to take care of a living human being. But he's an adult and he can take
That's an
care of
adult.
himself. Yeah,
Functioning, fully functioning adult.
fully functioning. But I also think like انه لا سمح الله, like إذا صار له شيء لجيسون, like ما بعرف شو رح يصير, like what if it's my own flesh and blood, like ما بعرف, like so many like crazy thoughts that never used to cross my mind when I was younger. And now I'm 30, like 31 almost, and now like when I'm okay, this is the time where I should start thinking about having a kid and be as excited about it as I was when I was like 22. And I feel like مش I'm not inshallah انه everything will happen, بس انه I just feel like I'm so scared. I
Reality sets in and you start
reality
realizing what it
and
means to have a human or another child, like a child in your life that you're taking care of besides yourself.
yeah,
And everything that comes with that, right?
yeah,
It's not about, it's just being realistic. But at the end of the day, and أنا كمان with a lot of things, I don't worry as much as you do. I
yeah,
don't worry as much as a lot of people do, thank God. I'm the type of person that's just like, okay, أكيد بفكر بالأشياء. Of course, things do come to mind. I think about these things, but at the end of the day, I'm just the person that's like, you can either have faith that everything's gonna go okay, or you're just gonna have to have faith in God and His plan, or you're gonna worry. You
yeah,
can't be a person that's full of worry, but also say, I have full faith in God's plan. It's yes to a certain degree, of course, مش عم بقول لا،
yeah,
بس يعني ما فيك تكوني بتآمني وبتعتلي هم بنفس الوقت كتير. خلص يعني
yeah,
you need to find that middle ground with everything in life. It's not just about with having a kid. Obviously, with having a kid, if you're a person that hasn't faced their past trauma, it doesn't have to be trauma in the sense of انه if شي traumatic experience صايرة بحياتك مغيرت لك كل شيء. But as a human being, you need to be very aware of the way that you were raised, the way that you are, the characteristics within yourself and within your partner that you love, don't necessarily love, want to kind of adapt when you have children. You don't want them to take that on. Basically, you need to be a person that's very aware of these things and okay admitting them.
Yeah.
Be it, يعني نحن, thank God, we were raised in a household where our parents are both like, listen, seeing a flaw in someone else or in something specifically does not mean you stop loving them. It means you
Yeah.
just love them with that flaw.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and نحن, we've always been a household that is very, very open and very honest with what are the things that we don't like, for example, or what are the things that we like, or how are things that we were brought up with that we would want to change for our children or our future families or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So هول كلهم, they play a role in who you are as a parent. Does anyone know how they're going to become as parents? No. And if they tell you they know, بيكونوا أكبر كذابين.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that come into play, and it's a really big decision. And yeah, a lot of my friends definitely thought that within the first year of me being married, I was going to get pregnant because of how much I love kids. But I also think for me, the reason why a few fears come into play is because at 27, me and Jason, and he was 29, we literally had to shift our whole lives and start over as a بديك. So I think كمان like the fact إنه نحن بعدنا هلا we're established here, but like now we have, I feel like the past 2 years we've really established ourselves with work, with our friend groups, like هيك اشياء. So I feel like I'm just starting to get used to this life that I'm scared to let go of something that became home here so quickly. But yeah,
But I think that also, I mean, to your point about just the differences coming up between the US and the Middle
I
East,
was about to say, yeah.
yeah, I think there's, in the Middle East, you know, when they say it takes a village,
So
in the Middle East, you have that village.
yeah,
In the US, you may have it. If your family's there, you are blessed. You're very lucky. Your parents are around you, your family's there, you're able to lean on them for support. In the Middle East, it's not just your family that supports you. In the Middle East, you're able to have a night nurse that can come spend the first 3 months at your house. If you want her longer, she'll stay longer. You'll have a housekeeper that's helping you around the house. So you're not the person that's doing everything all the time, right? You get support from the government here, at least in the UAE.
yeah,
The government is just very supportive of new moms or moms in general and children. So you get that support as well. That's great. That's brilliant. And then obviously, if you're lucky enough to work with a company that does support moms, that's also another plus, but that can be all over the world. It doesn't have to be just here.
yeah,
Plus, just if you're here, so for example, for us, for example, our parents do live in the Middle East. So it's very easy for them to just pop in. It's a 3 hour flight, max 3 hours and a
yeah.
half flight, right? So that's another easy thing. Living in the US كمان بتصيري تفكري بكل هول الاشياء لانه there are so many different layers that you think about as well. And you start worrying, can I get an au pair? Can I get somebody? Can I trust someone to come? It's a In the US, it's a heavy financial burden
It's
to
much
have
heavy.
additional help.
Yeah, like services
Yeah,
in general, I feel like in the US are just a completely different financial load than they would be in somewhere like Dubai or Lebanon, for
a
example.
100%. A
Yeah.
100%,
So
yeah.
Kamena, that plays a big role. I feel like as well in the Middle East, the difference in culture, like even if you have families here sometimes, the parents still work full time. Like
Yeah.
even يعني عرفتي, like they work until
They might
retirement.
not be able to just drop everything and come and help you. Yeah.
Exactly, even if she has her sister, her brother, like they have their own lives and it's like it's hard. But at the same time, like we know a couple who uh kind of balances it out in the sense of they're like, you know what, fuck it. I don't want to مثلا maybe buy the latest bag or buy the newest shoes. بفضل هيدي المصاري حتى وخلص عندي baby sitter أنا بعرف وبحبها and I'm comfortable with her. I prefer to do that and leave her with my kids for 3 days and travel with my husband then, so it's like you start to prioritize different things and it forces you to kind of make these choices here.
But that's
But
normal everywhere as well,
well,
right? And that's
yeah,
something that you have to consider wherever you are. And to me, the luckiest people are the people that live in Lebanon. They have a housekeeper, but they also have their parents there as well. And that's like
أحلى
كلمة
شيء.
مع.
ايه عن جد عن جد احلى شيء. um But yeah, I think it's just coming the differences بتحس إنه هنيك like nurseries are easier to get into, daycare for kids. Like بتذكر إنه even our friends who have ages under 3, 2 or 3 hours a day, the kid would be at a daycare with, you know what I mean, هيك enjoying the like socializing with other kids, learning new things, blah blah blah, and the mom will at least have a little bit of time to herself to rejuvenate and just like bring back her energy. But yeah, so there's definitely like a lot of differences that come with it. But I think wherever you go, at the end of the day, your child is your child and they're gonna want you over anyone else. So like it's
Of
easier
course.
not to say than to said than done. Tell me, you told me that your first trimester, like no one really like warns you about how uncomfortable you are. Tell me some other myths that you heard about pregnancy that you can debunk for us. Is there something that comes to mind? كنا دايما يقولوا لنا مثلا واحدة عن cravings إنه إذا ما بتاكلي الcraving that you get it's bad for your baby بتطلع بعين الصبي كانوا يقولوا لنا or something like that.
Okay, so first, before I debunk everything, this is debunking for myself, not for everyone else. Everyone's experience is completely different, okay? There are so many things that are just like they don't make sense. You know those things when you're like scrolling on Instagram, and I'm sure a bunch of people have already gotten them, where it's like, oh, gender reveal based on old wives' tales. Yeah,
Oh
no.
yeah.
Yeah, no. Those are like not right. Me and my best friend had we're pregnant at the same time. We're
Goals.
2 weeks apart, and then
Goals.
we alhamdulillah. And then we had very similar symptoms, or we were going through very similar things. I
Yeah.
must say she had some more intense nausea, for example, than I did. But we at one point we're like, do we have the same gender? Do we whatever, And then she got her results. She found out what she was having. Then I'm like, maybe I'm having the same thing because we had the same symptoms. And then I have two other friends who themselves are best friends, and they're some of my closest friends as well. They're childhood friends. They were also there a few weeks apart, and they were also going through the symptoms, and they're like, oh, okay, but completely غير. The symptoms are completely different. So does that mean we have completely a boy and a girl? Like, is it going to be different? They ended up both having girls. So it's there's a lot of stuff that are just like, yeah, okay, no, it does
Yeah.
not happen. And the
But
funny thing is,
You and Jenna had similar
we had very similar
but
symptoms.
you have
Yeah. We
opposite
had very, and we would always be like, okay, so أنا مثلا حامض عم بيساعدني إنه I'm like sucking on lime,
honey.
popsicles is the only thing I can handle. Carbs are the only thing I'm eating. If I'm so hungry, both of us went through the same thing. The hunger, no one tells you about the hunger. The hunger is on another level. Lias tells everyone about my hunger issues first trimester. But the hunger is on another level. And first trimester, I was traveling a lot for work. It was consecutively for 4 weeks at one point. And it was it was, and I didn't tell work at that point because it was before my 12
Yeah.
week mark, whatever. And I didn't want to wait for the 12 weeks. I just wanted to make sure NIPT and everything was good. But, but I remember I was traveling with snacks. I don't travel, I don't snack that often. If I snack, it's going to be chocolate. And I don't travel with snacks.
You're
The
already
night
preparing
before,
for the mom life, traveling with
the
snacks.
night before, Liz goes, Yara, I need to order a bunch of stuff for you. أنا عم بجوع كثير.
It's like ما بعرف شو بدي أعمل فيك بقى. That's
It
so
was really funny. And Liz and my doctor were bonding over the way that I was. So it was very funny.
that's
But
funny.
it's just, listen, honestly, the one thing, and everyone says, and no, I want to tell you, some people are like so extreme, right? They want to go, I want to tell you all of the worst things about it. This is what you need to expect. And then you have the other side of people where like, it's the best thing ever. It's bliss. It's whatever. No, no, no. It's not this, for me at least. It was not this or that. It's somewhere in the middle. And at the end of the day, I hate it when people go like, أصعب الشيء وحياتك بتوقف. I don't like that. Like, just don't say that. One, it's a choice that people are making. if you feel this way, it doesn't mean everybody else is going to have to feel this way. Yes, first trimester is uncomfortable for everyone that I've spoken to, at least. First trimester is uncomfortable. Because the body changes you're going through, they do take a mental toll, regardless of where you are in your body journey, body image, blah, blah, blah. And then you start thinking about stuff that have to do with work. Is this going to affect my promotion? Is this going to affect the amount of time I'm going to be able to put in? Is this going to
Yeah.
affect my output? You think about all of these things. Is this going to affect my traveling? Is it going to affect my exercising? So many things come into play,
Yeah.
right? بس انه انا ما بحب لا حدا يقول لك انه احلى شيء بالحياه واتس سو بليسفول ومدري شو، ولا حدا يقول لك يعني اصعب شيء بتعمليه وحتتغير كل حياتك وما رح تعرفي حالك. انه
Well,
somewhere
yeah,
in between.
هون
Let's be realistic يعني. Let's be realistic.
هون I definitely hear a lot more of like
Negative
the
side of things.
yeah, the first thing they lead with is the negative side. And I
No, I
think
don't
that's
like
what
that.
resonates a lot with me, where I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, you guys all have all of your families around you here, and you're all talking shit. Like, what's gonna happen to me? You know, like, what about me? You
لا
know,
لا like it's
عرفتي؟
it's it's a mindset. It's a
بنكون
mindset. Be realistic with your
أكيد
expectations.
أكيد
Be
أكيد.
realistic with what's gonna happen.
I'm
بس
gonna
إنه
go to Lebanon.
that's another that's another solution. I'm
That's the most realistic I can get, you know?
that's
No,
another
بس
solution that you can go with. بس
يا لا
إنه
نحن
somewhere
مثلا بنكون
balanced.
yeah نحن بنكون عم نحكي some of most of the times like we'll hang out with our friends cousins after like a night out, you know, like the next day بنكون عاملين معهم شي غدا or whatever. So أنا وجيسون بنكون قاعدين عم نقول لهم about like our hangover stories and like what happened last night, and they're like yeah enjoy it while it lasts because you can't do that after. And I'm just like,
You
guys,
can
don't.
do it.
That's what I'm meaning. Was like, guys, if you want to do it, I'm sure you can find a way. Like, if there's a will, there's a way. ويمكن I'm gonna bite my tongue in a few years for saying this. بس إنه ما بعرف. I just feel like إنه it's a tad much when people say
No,
like,
no, let's not, yeah,
oh,
let's not exaggerate.
no,
Some of our friends,
come
it
on.
depends how you are as a parent as well and what you want out of your life. We have two of our friends that we're super, super close with, and I always tell them, you know, smala, like they're doing a great job parenting. Their kid is such a good kid, so disciplined, so smart, so social. But at the same time, they have their life. We hang out at their house. There's music playing. We're talking. We're having drinks. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Yeah, and we're just chilling, we're hanging out, and you forget that there's a kid at home. And we're at home, right?
Yeah,
Because the kid is asleep, obviously, at
yeah,
night. But they still live their life. They still go out. It's not, they don't stop their life. So it's very much mindset as well.
إيه.
It's mind over matter as
و-
well. So حسب انت your mindset. كل شيء بأنه مثل كل شيء بالحياة يعني.
Yeah. ومثل ما قلت, I think it's also like the type of person that you are and like the kind of
Yeah,
parent that you are. Like, some parents use their kids as an excuse to not want to go out, you know, to
yeah,
not go out anymore. But like, لا مثلا Jason's cousins بالعكس, like it was always something that they love to do, is just like for them to go out together. By the way, like
yeah.
even if it's, no one else is going out with them, but they'll love to just go to a
Of
concert that they
course, برافو
love
عليهم.
for an artist that they love, and they'll make it happen. Like, if it's a babysitter or if it's one of their parents, even if it's like planning 2 months ahead, by the way, that's what they know will work and will allow them
Yeah,
to do that. So that's what
and they'll
they
just
do.
do it.
وكتير بحب هيدا الشيء. Like, I really respect the fact that it's like, or like they're very good at like tag teaming. Okay, their youngest is now 3 and their eldest is 7, so they like those ages are a little
They're
bit
past
easier.
the difficult phase. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I love that they tag team as well. Like, mom will stay home and then dad will stay home. Depends. Like, and if they خلص need a night out, come in. If they can't,
That's kind of fair as well, right?
of
Like
course.
can في meta, it's not a meta, it's just it's a saying. Yeah, يعني meta saying is the same thing. But you know, it's just a thing that people say, and no, you are not an add-on to the baby's life. The baby joins your life. So maybe it's easier said than done. هلا I'll figure out in 9 months إن شاء
Maybe
الله.
we'll bite our
بس
tongue.
إنه maybe it's easier said than done. شو بعرفني. But I feel like if parents do want to find a way to live their life as well, ما ينسوا حالهم, they can. And I see it as examples from so many of my friends around me. So many of them. A lot of them are just like لا خلاص. They their baby is just their life and everything
That's
revolves
what they
around their
want. Yeah.
baby's nap time, their feeding time, their whatever time. And yes, of course, I understand that until the baby is maybe 6 months, this is something that you have to do. And then of course it differs breastfeeding, not breastfeeding, whatever. بس بس إنه if you want to make it a point to live your life even when you have kids and they just become a part of your life. Some of our friends يعني مثلا they من أول ما خلقت their daughter بيظهروها معنا wherever we go. And she's always been a part of our day to day. ظاهرين نتغدى on a Sunday, going out for lunch on a Sunday. She's with us. Even when
Yeah.
she was 4 months old, she's with us. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that they made it into take something that's very big and no, we're not going to take her out. She's always been a part of our daily life. She's always been with us. We go on walks together. We do everything together.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. But at the same time, you need friends that are very understanding of the stage that you're in life. يعني a new mom friend that I had, for example, I know إنه إذا عم بتقلي هي إنه ليكي أنا هلا قاعدة بالبيت لأنه I have to do X, Y, and Z for the baby or with the baby or for the house. I know that if I want to spend some time with her, I'm gonna have to go to her house regardless.
Yeah.
Or if she tells me we're going to the park with her child, and I want to spend some time with her and her child, I'll meet them in the park. So it's really all about having that village that is very supportive and understanding of the phase in life which you're in at that point
Yeah.
as well.
For sure. And I think it's also like give and take with your friendships as well, like what works very well for us and our friends who we love so much and we're so close and they have two kids, yani, is like us going to their house works a lot, but at the same time they're also willing to like come out and like go
Yeah,
out for lunch sometimes.
that,
You know what I mean? If they're more feeling like staying home وأنا ما عبالي to go over to their house, like
that's
sometimes
fine as well.
it's نحنا كمان like we have limited weekends that we just want to go
Yeah,
out,
yeah, yeah, of course,
you know?
100%.
So we'll be like, you know what? We're not feeling like being at home
I
tonight.
feel
We're,
like that's gonna
you know,
change when I have my kid. You're gonna be like, I'm just sitting with the others kid.
well, yeah. Then I'll be like the aunt that's using the kids as an excuse to not go out. Ya Allah. So cute. I can't wait to be an aunt. Oh my God, Anjad. I'm so excited. I dreamt of your unborn child yesterday. But anyways, what about like we started this whole thing debunking myths, but what about what Phoebe and Rachel were talking about on Friends?
I mean, that really depends on who you are as a human being, I guess,
At the
and
4 month
your
mark.
hormones, and your hormones. But I don't know. Maybe true for some people. I know it's true for some. I know it's not true for others. So I don't know.
I
For
think I
some people, it comes before the fourth month. Some people, it's after. I have no idea.
That's so funny. That's literally one of my favorite episodes. When Rachel's just like going crazy on a fucking Mike Tyson cutout. But I don't know if it was Mike
My
Tyson.
favorite is when she's just like, "Get out, get out,"
Oh yeah, yeah. Friends
and her
through.
friends around her go, "Let's."
Yeah. It's I love Friends. The best show ever. But okay, anything else that you want to debunk before we shut down this discussion?
I don't know. ما بعرف. What are the things that are like pregnancy myths or I don't know.
مثلا أنا something I heard of was that هيدا إنه the cravings, if you don't eat the cravings بتطلع بعين
Oh,
السبع.
that's not true because let's say I'm craving chocolate all the time. The placenta picks the healthy stuff to take away from me and give to the baby. So that's absolutely not true. It's not going to take the chocolate and give to the baby.
Hey, chocolate is really good for you, okay? It
If
releases.
it's dark chocolate, I don't eat dark chocolate, obviously. We all know that.
Oh yeah, you don't eat dark
Oh, but
chocolate.
one thing that,
I
about the cravings, one thing though is so they say, you might have so many cravings first trimester, whatever. I didn't have any cravings, but I had a lot of food aversions. I did not eat meat, like chicken, meat, none of that. I couldn't stand the smell of chicken whatsoever. I didn't eat chocolate. I have a sweet tooth. For a certain while, I just couldn't. I would eat a small piece of chocolate, but I wouldn't have like a whole chocolate cake like I usually do. But that's
Crazy.
because
I'm
also my
telling you.
doctor just did not want me to. She's like, you can't gain weight.
Anyway.
So I had to be very careful. And then there's pregnancy diabetes. So she's like, be careful. Because one of my parents has diabetes. So she's like, careful, steer clear. And then what's the other thing? Oh, carbs, cereal. I hadn't had cereal in I think years,
Yeah.
years. And then faj'a, it's the only thing I can kind of have. And then popsicles, and not like chocolate popsicles, no, like lemon sorbet, raspberry, strawberry, that kind of popsicles.
Ew.
That was no so good, Pop City, so good. And one of
Shout
my
out
cousins, when she
positivity.
found out when I told her I'm pregnant, and she found out that's like the only thing that I'm having, she sent them over every week, and no,
That's
that's the
so
only thing that Yara can have. Um, but yeah, those are some of the food aversions. Cravings, not much, but you know, you'd get hungry, like you'd be okay, completely fine, not hungry, not hungry. All of a sudden, you can eat a human being, like you're
wow.
starving.
Wow.
It's
That'd be fun.
yeah, but there's no
Tab,
like actual
Can
cravings,
I
cravings. I didn't have that.
can I ask you something? Do you get annoyed? I get so many pregnancy reels and like what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing, and the first 3 months of the baby's life and blah blah blah. Is it annoying for people to send you shit like that?
I ignore it.
There we go. So
I scroll. I scroll. Honestly, خلاص, I've seen so many of my friends have babies. I've been with them through the first months of the baby's life to know that what works for one baby does not necessarily have to work for another. It's
yeah,
trial and error. So خلاص,
I send so
it's
many like
gonna
I'm
work.
that annoying friend who will send you who has no children, has nothing to do with this life. Yeah, yeah, I'm out getting drunk every weekend, but like not that some parents are as well. But I have nothing to do with this life, and yeah, I'm sitting there on my high horse, just sending you.
No, some
For
of them are
real.
actually useful. No, no, some are useful.
Okay, good.
I know, for example, like me and my best friend are pregnant at the same time, but Dikiana to like be sending each other all this pregnancy stuff all the time. I mean, neither one of us is that type to begin with, so we're just not that type of whole reels that just don't really make sense. And then there's a lot of those like gender stuff that you get, and then we're more a bit, I think both of us are more grounded, our feet on the ground. Like even the other day I'm telling her, I'm like, by the way, did you even start thinking about your nursery? Because that was the day that you were harassing me about my nursery, and I'm like, ما بعرف ما بعرف كتير وقت إنه so I'm I messaged her, I'm like, are you thinking about your nursery? She's like, Yara, what nursery? I'm gonna get a crib, put the crib in my room, and that's the nursery. So I think both of us are a bit more كمان هيك grounded. We're a bit more realistic of what are the things that we're gonna need, what are the things we're not gonna need, what are the things that خلص you don't ما بدك تكوني كتير over كمان بالأشياء بالحياة. In general, we're both like that. So I think with our pregnancies, we're the same.
I would take full advantage and start like doing a nursery like within the first week of finding out I'm
That's why
pregnant.
you ask me for bump pics every week. And I don't even take bump pics for myself every week.
Yeah, but that's
You're
ridiculous.
that type of, you're that type of.
But that's ridiculous that you don't take bump pics
Why
every
is
week.
that ridiculous? It's fine.
How are you gonna remember this amazing time of your life, the first time you created a
Trust me,
child?
you're not gonna forget it. You're not gonna forget it. You don't need the pictures.
But it's cool to see the progress. Plus, because I'm so far away,
Progress.
yeah, because I'm yeah, like where
You'll
you're at
see it
now.
at the end, inshallah, ya Rab. Like it's a human being, you know? That's the thing you're excited about.
But it's like a checkpoint. You know, he said you have checkpoints, you know.
The pictures are, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna look back at them.
It's also
Pretty
like
sure.
for a very selfish reason, because I just feel like I'm so far away from you during this pregnancy, which is a whole other discussion, and it's so depressing. But so it's a little selfish for me to just be like, hello, I need a bump update. Where are you at? You know?
Oh wait, one thing that I can also debunk about the bump is that you get a bump like real quickly. No, no. Initially, you get a bloat. You're bloated 24/7. And that's the case with all of my friends. Oh, and that's one symptom nobody tells you about, the bloating. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's so uncomfortable. So it's not a bump, it's a bloat. And it goes away. It goes away. And then the bump, I mean, I still don't have a bump. Like this weekend, I was out with friends and I was wearing a dress, and my friend's like, "Where is it?" I'm like, I pulled my dress and I'm like, at this point, non-existent. And it changes. It changes during the day. In the morning, you can have maybe a poop belly, that's like your bump. And then at night, it's a full-blown bloat because your stomach obviously goes up. So your stomach goes up, and then the baby is taking up all the space down there. And the baby is now, like, for me at least, the baby is big. The baby's now 24 centimeters. So you're like, that's weird. Like, where is all of this stuff about the bump that people tell you? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's very different for so many other people, for so many people. And I have a friend who kept telling me إنه يارا ما حيبين للرابع للخامس ما حيبين. And she was right at the
Yeah.
end.
Now you're on month 5, so hopefully soon it'll
Yeah.
start to
Yeah.
show. Yeah. I'm waiting, patiently waiting over here. But yeah. Well, Yarusha, thanks for letting me do this with you. Um, but yeah, as always, guys, if you have any questions, again, we are not doctors here to talk about. Please ask your gynecologist. Don't ask us, but drop us
If you
any.
have questions that are related to gynecology, put them down. We are hopefully going to have an episode with one of our favorite doctors and one of our very, very, very close family friends who's a
Yes,
gynecologist. So fingers crossed.
yes.
And then she will be able to answer those questions for you.
She'll be able to answer. But if you have any cool stories, any myths that you were able to debunk throughout your pregnancy, any tips for someone who's fucking
Please share.
terrified, please share, you know?
Any funny stories that
Any
come with
funny
you being
stories. Yeah,
pregnant.
whatever you want to
Yeah.
share with us, please share. Let's have this conversation. But yeah, as always, make sure to tune in 2 weeks for another episode of Can We Discuss with Yara and Petra. Thanks,
Thank you for
everyone.
listening.